Hello, and welcome back to English in Advance. I am your host, Jessica, and I am so happy you are here with me today. Today is going to be a very special session because we are tackling one of the biggest challenges in language learning. We are going to talk about how to explain your thoughts clearly in English. You know that feeling when you have a brilliant idea in your head or a funny story you want to share, but when you open your mouth, the words just get stuck. It feels frustrating. You might feel like your brain is a superhighway full of fast cars, but your mouth is a tiny country road with a traffic jam. That is a completely normal feeling. Every English learner feels this way at some point. But today, we are going to fix that. We are going to slow down and learn the specific steps you can take to organize your mind and speak with clarity. This is not just about learning new vocabulary words. It is about learning how to build a structure for your ideas so that anyone can understand you. So please get comfortable. Maybe you are walking or cooking or just relaxing with a cup of tea. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Let us begin our journey to clear speaking. The first secret to explaining your thoughts clearly is actually quite surprising. The secret is that you do not need big words. Many students think that to sound smart or clear, they need to use academic vocabulary or long, complicated sentences. But the truth is actually the opposite. To explain a thought clearly, you need to simplify. Think about the best communicators you know. Maybe it is a famous speaker or a teacher you like. Usually, they are easy to understand because they use simple words to explain complex ideas. So the first rule we are going to practice today is the rule of simplicity. When you are trying to explain a thought, do not try to translate the complex sentence from your native language directly into English. That is usually where we get stuck. Your native language might have a very long specific word for a feeling, but English might not have that exact match. If you search for that one perfect word, you will pause and hesitate and lose your confidence. Instead, I want you to describe the idea using simple words you already know. Let us try an example of this. Imagine you went to a restaurant and the atmosphere was very lively and noisy and full of energy. In your native language, you might have one perfect word for that. But in English, you get stuck looking for the word bustling. Maybe you do not remember the word bustling. If you stop speaking to search for that word, you break the flow. But if you use the rule of simplicity, you can just explain the thought. You can say, "The restaurant was full of people and very loud, but in a good way." That sentence is perfect. It is clear. It explains your thought exactly. And you did not need a dictionary. Let us practice this mindset right now. I want you to think of your day today. How was your day? Do not look for a complicated adjective. Just use simple sentences. Listen to my example first. My day was busy, but I felt productive. Now you try. Say a simple sentence about your day out loud. Go ahead, I'm listening. That was great. Keeping it simple is the foundation. Now let us move on to the structure of your thoughts. When we explain something clearly, we usually follow a pattern. If you listen to native speakers, you will hear this pattern all the time. It is called the what and the why. This is a very powerful tool for you. When you speak, state your main idea first. That is the what. Then immediately connect it to the reason. That is the why. This sounds simple, but many learners forget to add the why, or they put the details before the main idea, which makes the story confusing. To be clear, you must put the headline first. Imagine you are writing a newspaper article. You need a headline. Your first sentence is your headline. Let us practice this structure with a common topic. Let us talk about movies. Imagine I ask you what your favorite movie is. A confusing answer would start with the details. For example, someone might say, well, there is this actor and he travels to space, and there is a robot. This is confusing because I do not know the main point yet. A clear answer starts with the what. You would say, I love the movie Interstellar. That is the what. Then you add the connection word because. And then you give the why. Because the story about space travel is very emotional. Do you see how clean that is? The listener knows exactly what you are talking about and why you like it. I want to practice this connecting word because it is the bridge between your thought and your explanation. I am going to give you a prompt, and I want you to answer using this structure. State the idea, use the word because, and give the reason. Here is the question. Do you prefer summer or winter? Think about it. Choose one. Now give me your clear explanation. Remember the structure. I prefer summer because, or I prefer winter because. Speak it out loud now. Excellent. You are building a bridge for your listener. When you use this structure, you are being kind to the person listening to you. You are making it easy for them to follow your brain. Now let us go deeper. Sometimes one sentence is not enough to explain a complex thought. Sometimes you have a big opinion or a complicated situation to describe. In this case, we need to expand our structure. We need to add an example. So the structure becomes the what, followed by the why, followed by the example. Examples are magic in English conversation. If your explanation is a little bit unclear, an example will always save you. It paints a picture in the listener's mind. Let us look at how this works in a business or work situation. Imagine you are at work and you want to tell your boss that the team needs more time for a project. If you just say we need more time, it might sound lazy. If you say we need more time because it is hard, that is a little better, but still vague. Now let us use our full structure. First, the what. We need 2 more days to finish this project. Next, the why. Because the data analysis is taking longer than we expected. Now the example to make it perfectly clear. For instance, yesterday we found 3 errors in the report that we need to fix manually. That is a perfect explanation. It is professional, clear, and impossible to misunderstand. You stated the need, you gave the reason, and you provided a concrete example. I want you to try this 3-step method. It might feel like a lot of thinking, but with practice, it becomes automatic. Let us try with a topic about learning English. I want you to explain why listening to podcasts is good. First, give me the main idea. Listening to podcasts is helpful. Next, give me the reason. Because it improves my listening skills. Now give me an example. For instance, I can learn correct pronunciation naturally. Now put it all together into one smooth flow. I will say it first, and then you repeat after me. Listening to podcasts is helpful because it improves my listening skills. For instance, I can learn pronunciation naturally. Now it is your turn. Clear your throat and speak loud and proud. Very good job. I hope you can feel the difference. When you have a structure, you feel less nervous. You do not have to panic about what to say next because you know the path. You are walking from the main idea to the reason and then to the example. It is like having a map for your mouth. Now I want to address a common problem that stops people from explaining their thoughts clearly. That problem is the fear of pausing. Many students feel that if they stop speaking for 1 second, They have failed. They think that fluency means speaking fast without stopping. This is not true. Actually, speaking too fast can make your explanation very unclear. When you are rushing, you often mash your words together or you forget to finish your sentences. To explain your thoughts clearly, you need to embrace the power of the pause. Pausing gives your listener time to process what you just said. It also gives your brain time to load the next sentence. Think of your brain like a computer. Sometimes it is buffering. If you keep typing while the computer is buffering, it might crash. But if you wait for a second, it catches up. When you are explaining a complex thought, use pauses as punctuation. Speak your main idea. Pause. Say your connecting word. Pause. Give your reason. These small silences make you sound confident, not weak. A confident speaker is not afraid of silence. Let us practice a controlled pause. I am going to read a sentence and I am going to leave space between the ideas. I want you to listen to the rhythm. Here is the sentence. I really want to travel to Japan next year because I have always been fascinated by the culture, specifically the history of the samurai. Did you hear the rhythm? I did not run the words together. I grouped them. I really want to travel to Japan next year. Pause. Because I have always been fascinated by the culture. Pause. Specifically the history of the samurai. Now I want you to try. I will give you a topic. The topic is your favorite food. Do not rush. I want you to tell me your favorite food and why you like it, but I want you to pause before you say the word. Because take your time. Go ahead. Did that feel different? Did it feel more controlled? When you control the speed, you control the clarity. You are the driver of the car. You decide how fast to go. Now let us move to another tool for explaining your thoughts. This tool is called rephrasing. Sometimes we say something and we realize immediately that it was not clear. Maybe we used the wrong word or the grammar was a bit messy. This happens to native speakers too. The difference is that native speakers know how to fix it immediately using rephrasing phrases. These are magical phrases like, "What I mean is," or, "In other words." These phrases give you a second chance. If you are explaining an idea and you see the listener looks confused, do not panic. Just stop and use one of these phrases. For example, imagine you are trying to explain a rule of a game. You say you have to put the card on the table if it is red. Maybe that was not clear. You can immediately say, "What I mean is that red cards must be played first." The phrase "what I mean" is signals to the listener that a better explanation is coming. It is a very polite and professional way to correct yourself. It keeps the conversation moving forward smoothly. Let us practice using, in other words. This phrase is used when you want to simplify something you just said. Imagine you said something complicated like, "The weather conditions are deteriorating rapidly, heavily impacting our travel plans." That is very formal. You might want to make it clearer. So you add, in other words, "We cannot drive today because of the storm." Let us try this. I want you to imagine you are tired. You just said, "I am completely exhausted and lacking energy." Now use the phrase, "in other words," to say it simply. You could say, "In other words, I need to sleep." You try it. Say the phrase, "In other words, I need to sleep." Wonderful. These little tools, structure pauses and rephrasing phrases, are your best friends. They are like a toolkit you carry with you. Whenever you feel stuck, you reach into your toolkit and pull one out. You are doing a fantastic job so far. We are building your ability to communicate complex things step by step. I want to talk a little bit about emotions. Explaining facts is one thing, but explaining feelings is often harder. Thoughts about our feelings are usually messy and abstract. When you want to explain how you feel, it helps to use the structure of situation plus feeling. Many people start with the feeling but forget the situation. They say, "I am angry," but the listener does not know why. Or they describe the situation, "He was late again," but they do not describe the feeling. To be clear, you must combine them. The situation is the trigger. The feeling is the result. A great way to structure this is to use the word when. When this happens, I feel this way. This is a classic therapy technique, but it is also a perfect English grammar structure for clarity. Let us look at an example. Imagine your friend is always checking their phone when you are talking. You want to explain that this bothers you. You could say, "When you look at your phone while I am speaking, I feel ignored." This is incredibly clear. There is no confusion. You clearly link the action to the emotion. Let us try to build a sentence like this. Think about something that makes you happy. Maybe it is when the sun shines or when you drink coffee. Use the structure. When something happens, I feel happy. For me, I would say, when I wake up early and see the sunrise, I feel peaceful. Now it is your turn. Create a when sentence about something that makes you happy. Speak it clearly. That was beautiful. You are learning to connect the dots for your listener. Explaining your thoughts is really just about connecting dots. You connect the what to the why. You connect the situation to the feeling. When you make these connections visible, your English sounds advanced, even if you are using simple vocabulary. This is the goal of our channel English in Advance. We want to advance your communication skills, not just your word count. As we continue, we are going to explore more specific situations like storytelling and opinions. But for now, take a moment to absorb what we have covered. Clarity is a habit, and you are building it right now. Now, welcome to the next phase of our journey. If you were with us for the first part, you remember that we talked about the power of simplicity and the basic structures of the what and the why. We learned that you do not need a dictionary full of difficult words to be understood. You just need a clear map for your ideas. Now we are going to expand that map. We are going to step into the world of storytelling. Now you might be thinking, "Jessica, I am not a writer. I do not tell stories." But the truth is, every time you explain something, you are telling a story. When you tell your boss why you are late, that is a story. When you tell your friend about your weekend, that is a story. Even when you explain how to cook a meal, you are telling the story of the food. The problem is that many English learners tell these stories in a way that is hard to follow. They jump around in time. They start at the end and then go back to the beginning and then jump to the middle. It makes the listener feel dizzy. We are going to learn how to keep your listener on a straight path so they hang on every word you say. So take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and let us dive into the art of sequencing. The first concept we need to master is the concept of linear time. In English, we prefer stories that move in a straight line. We like to start at the beginning and move step by step to the end. This sounds obvious, but it is actually quite hard to do when you are translating in your head. Your brain remembers the most exciting part first, so you want to say that first. But to be clear, you must resist that urge. You must lay the foundation. To do this, we use what I call signpost words. Imagine you are driving on a highway. You need signs to tell you where to go. Signpost words are words like first, next, then, after that, and finally. These words tell your listener exactly where they are in your story. Let us look at a very simple example. Imagine you are explaining your morning routine. A confusing explanation sounds like this. I drank coffee, but before that I brushed my teeth and I woke up at 7. This is confusing because the time is jumping backward. A clear explanation uses signposts. Listen to the difference. First I woke up at 7, next I brushed my teeth, then I drank coffee. Do you hear how calm and organized that sounds? The listener does not have to work hard to understand you. I want to practice this right now with a common daily activity. Let us talk about making a cup of tea or coffee. I want you to visualize the process in your mind. See the water, see the cup. Now I want you to describe it using first, next, and finally. I will go first. First, I boil the water. Next, I put the tea bag in the mug. Finally, I pour the hot water in and add milk. Now it is your turn. Explain how you make your favorite drink. Use the signposts. Speak out loud. That was excellent. You are training your brain to organize information before it leaves your mouth. Now let us look at a slightly more advanced version of this. Sometimes we need to explain things that happened in the past and we need to set the scene. One of the biggest reasons people get confused when listening to a story is that they do not know the context. They do not know who, where, or when. If you just start talking about an action without the context, the listener is lost. So we have a rule called the anchor. You must anchor your story in reality before you start the action. The anchor consists of 3 things: time, place, and people. Before you tell me what happened, tell me when it was, where you were, and who was there. Let us try an example. Imagine you want to tell a funny story about something that happened at the supermarket. If you just say, "The apples fell all over the floor," the listener thinks, "Wait, what apples? Where are we?" You need to drop the anchor first. You say, "Last Saturday I was at the grocery store with my mother." That is the anchor. Last Saturday is the time. Grocery store is the place. Mother is the person. Now the listener is standing next to you in the store. Now you can say the action. Suddenly the apples fell all over the floor. I want you to practice dropping the anchor. Think of a memory from your last vacation. Before you tell me what you did, I want you to set the scene. Tell me when it was, where you were, and who you were with. For example, I could say, 2 years ago I was in Paris with my husband. Now you try. Think of a memory. Drop the anchor. Time, place, person. Go ahead. Perfect. By doing this, you are being a polite speaker. You are inviting the listener into your world. Now let us talk about a word that changes everything. That word is suddenly. In storytelling and explaining, we often have a moment where things change or go wrong. This is usually the most interesting part of the story. To highlight this moment, we need words that signal a surprise. Suddenly is a great word, but we also have words like unfortunately, or luckily, or unexpectedly. These are called emotional adverbs. They tell the listener how to feel about what is coming next. If you say, "I dropped my ice cream," that is a fact. But if you say, "Unfortunately, I dropped my ice cream," you are adding emotion. You are telling the listener that this is a sad moment. If you say, "Luckily, I dropped my ice cream," the listener will be confused unless you explain that maybe the ice cream was poisoned. Using these emotional words guides the listener's reaction. It helps you explain not just the events, but the experience of the events. Let us practice using unfortunately and luckily. I am going to give you a situation. I want you to add one of these words to make the sentence clear and emotional. Here is the situation. You missed the bus. Which word fits better? Unfortunately or luckily? Yes, usually it is. Unfortunately. So the sentence becomes, unfortunately, I missed the bus. Now try this situation. You found $10 in your pocket. Which word fits? Yes, luckily. Luckily, I found $10 in your pocket. Using these words at the start of the sentence prepares the listener. It is like playing music in a movie. It sets the mood. Now I want to move to a very important part of explaining your thoughts clearly. This is how to explain a problem. We often speak English because we need to solve a problem. Maybe your internet is not working, or your food is cold, or you are lost. Explaining a problem clearly is a vital life skill. The structure for this is very specific. It is context, problem, impact. Many people forget the impact part. They say the internet is not working. The listener says, okay. But if you explain the impact, the listener understands the urgency. Let us break it down. Context is the background. The problem is what is wrong. The impact is why it matters. Let us look at the internet example. Context could be, I am trying to finish my report. Problem is, the internet keeps disconnecting. Impact is, so I cannot send the email to my boss on time. When you put it together, it sounds professional and clear. I am trying to finish my report, but the internet keeps disconnecting, so I cannot send the email to my boss on time. Do you see how the word so acts as a bridge to the impact? This structure gets results. Let us practice the context, problem, impact structure. Imagine you are at a restaurant. You ordered a salad, but they brought you a soup. I want you to explain this to the waiter. Do not just say, this is wrong. Use the structure. Context could be, I ordered a salad. Problem is, you brought me soup. Impact is, so I cannot eat this. Now put it together. Be polite but clear. I ordered a salad, but you brought me soup, so I cannot eat this. Now I want you to try with a different problem. Imagine you bought a shirt, but it is too small. Explain it to the shop assistant. Context, I bought this shirt yesterday. Problem, it is too small. Impact, I need to exchange it. Put it all together in one flow. Speak it to me. Very good. This structure helps you avoid getting angry or frustrated. When you focus on the structure, you focus on the facts and the solution rather than the emotion. Speaking of solutions, that leads us to the final part of a good explanation, which is the resolution. Every story or explanation needs an ending. You cannot just stop talking. It feels awkward. You need a phrase that signals you are finished. A great phrase for this is, so the point is, or in the end. If you are telling a story about your weekend and you finish by saying, and then we went home, it is a bit boring. But if you say, in the end, it was a wonderful weekend, you have wrapped up the package, it creates a smooth conversation rhythm. I want to address another aspect of explaining your thoughts clearly, which is handling interruptions. Sometimes when you are explaining something, someone will interrupt you. This can be very throwing. You might lose your train of thought. You might forget where you were in your story. This happens to everyone. The clear way to handle this is to use a reset phrase. A reset phrase is something like, where was I? Or, as I was saying. These phrases are very useful. They give you a second to check your mental map and find your place again. Imagine you are telling a story about your holiday and someone asks you a question about the flight. You answer the question and then you want to go back to your story. Instead of just jumping back in, you say, anyway, as I was saying, the hotel was beautiful. The word anyway is a powerful tool to delete the interruption and return to the main path. It signals to the listener that the side conversation is over and the main story is returning. Let us practice using. Anyway, as I was saying, I want you to imagine you are talking about your favorite movie. Suddenly, I interrupt you and ask, "Do you like popcorn?" You answer, "Yes, I love popcorn." Now use the phrase to get back to the movie topic. Anyway, as I was saying, the movie was fantastic. Try it. Say, "Yes, I love popcorn." Anyway, as I was saying, the movie was fantastic. Excellent. That phrase gives you control. You are the leader of the conversation. Now let us go a little deeper into descriptive language. We talked about simplicity, but simplicity does not mean boring. You can explain your thoughts clearly and still make them interesting by using specific verbs instead of just adjectives. In English, verbs are the engine of the sentence. Adjectives are the paint, but verbs are the engine. For example, instead of saying, "The car went fast," you can say, "The car zoomed." Zoomed is a specific verb. It explains the thought more clearly than went fast. Instead of saying, "He looked at me angrily," you can say, "He glared at me." Glared means looked angrily. When you use specific verbs, your explanation becomes shorter and punchier. It is more efficient. This is a higher level skill, but it is good to start noticing it. When you listen to native speakers, listen to the verbs they use. Do they say walked or do they say strolled? Strolled means walked slowly and happily. Using the right verb paints a clear picture in the listener's mind without needing 5 extra sentences to explain. We have covered so much so far regarding structure and storytelling. Now we are ready for something a little bit deeper. We are ready to talk about your personality. We are going to talk about opinions persuasion and the delicate art of agreeing and disagreeing. This is the level where you stop being just a student of English and you become a user of English. You become someone who can share your values, your beliefs, and your unique perspective with the world. Sharing an opinion in a second language can feel very scary. It is one thing to order a coffee or describe the weather. It is a completely different thing to tell someone that you disagree with them or to try to change their mind. You might feel afraid of being rude. You might worry that you will not have the right words to defend your idea, and you will look foolish. I want to tell you right now that these fears are valid, but we are going to conquer them today. We are going to learn the polite bridges that let you walk from your mind to another person's mind without starting a fight. The first thing we need to change is how we start our sentences. When most learners want to give an opinion, they use the phrase, "I think." "I think this is good." "I think that is bad." There is nothing wrong with "I think." It is correct, but it is a little bit weak and it can get repetitive. If you want to explain your thoughts clearly and sound more advanced, we need to expand your menu of opening phrases. We call these opinion signals. They signal to the listener that what is coming next is subjective. It is your view, not a universal fact. Let us try a slightly stronger phrase. From my perspective, this is a beautiful phrase. It sounds professional and thoughtful. It implies that you are looking at the situation from your own unique angle. Imagine you are discussing whether people should work from home or in an office. Instead of saying, "I think working from home is better," try saying, "From my perspective, working from home offers more balance." Do you hear the difference? It sounds weighty. It sounds like you have considered it carefully. Another great phrase is, "as I see it." As I see it, the most important thing is productivity. These phrases give you authority. I want you to practice this right now. I am going to ask you a question. The question is social media good or bad for society? It is a big question. I do not want you to use the words "I think." I want you to start your sentence with, "from my perspective," or "as I see it." Take a moment to form your thought. Now say it out loud. From my perspective, social media is... Go ahead, speak it. That was excellent. You sound more confident already. Now let us move to the most difficult part of communication, which is disagreement. Disagreeing in English is an art form. In some cultures, it is normal to say, "No, you are wrong," very directly. But in English-speaking cultures, especially in professional settings, direct disagreement can feel aggressive. If you just say, "No, I disagree," it stops the conversation. It builds a wall. We want to build bridges. So we use a technique called the softener. A softener is a word or phrase that cushions the blow of the disagreement. It shows respect for the other person's opinion, even while you are rejecting it. The most famous structure for this is the yes but method. This is where you agree with part of what the person said before you disagree with the main point. It makes the other person feel heard. For example, imagine your friend says, "We should go to the Italian restaurant tonight because it is cheap." You do not want Italian food. You want Japanese food. If you say, "No, I want Japanese food," it is a bit abrupt. Using the yes but method, you could say, "I see your point about the price, but I am really craving Japanese food. Do you see what you did there?" You validated their point about the price. You said, "I see your point." That is the yes. Then you use the word but to introduce your preference. This is polite disagreement. Let us practice the phrase, "I see your point, but..." I am going to make a statement and I want you to disagree with me politely. Here is my statement. The best way to learn English is to study grammar books all day long. Now you know that is not true. You know listening and speaking is better. So disagree with me. Start with, "I see your point." Say, "I see your point, but listening is more effective." You try it. Wonderful. It feels much nicer, doesn't it? Another very polite way to disagree is to use the phrase, "I see it differently." This is very neutral. It does not say you are wrong. It just says, "My eyes see a different picture." It is perfect for work situations. If a colleague suggests a plan that you think is a mistake, you can say, "That is an interesting idea. However, I see it differently." Then you explain your view. The word "however" is a fantastic formal version of "but." It is like wearing a tie. It makes you sound smart and professional. Now let us talk about persuasion. How do you explain your thought in a way that convinces someone else? How do you win the argument? The secret to persuasion is structure, and specifically, the rule of 3. The human brain loves the number 3. We have beginning, middle, end. We have lights, camera, action. We have ready, set, go. When you give reasons for your opinion, if you give 3 reasons, it sounds complete and convincing. If you give 1, it is too weak. If you give 10, it is overwhelming. 3 is the magic number. Let us look at how to structure an argument using the rule of 3. Imagine you are trying to convince your friend to join a gym with you. If you just say you should join, because it is healthy, that is okay. But let us use the rule of 3. You could say you should join the gym for 3 reasons. First, it is good for your health. Second, it is a great way to meet people. And third, it will help us spend more time together when you lay it out like that. First, second, and third, it is very hard to argue with. It sounds like a solid, logical house. I want you to try this. I want you to convince me to visit your country or your city. Think of 3 reasons. Maybe the food, the people, and the nature. I want you to use the signposts first, second, and third. Start your sentence with, "You should visit my country because..." and then give me the 3 reasons. Take your time to think. 1, 2, 3. Now speak to me. I am convinced. That sounded very persuasive. Using numbers to structure your thoughts helps you stay on track, and it helps the listener remember your points. Now let us go a little deeper into the nuance of language. Sometimes you want to explain a thought, but you are not 100% sure. You do not want to state it as a hard fact. You want to leave some room for error. This is where we use hedging language. Hedging is like putting a fence around your idea to protect it. It involves words like maybe, possibly, it seems, and it might. Native speakers use hedging all the time to sound humble and polite. Instead of saying, this is the wrong answer, they say this might be the wrong answer. The word might takes the edge off. It suggests that there is a possibility I am wrong, but I think this is it. Instead of saying he is angry, you can say it seems like he is angry. This describes your impression, not the absolute fact. Using hedging words makes you a safer speaker. It allows you to express thoughts without being accused of lying if you are wrong. Let us practice transforming a hard sentence into a soft sentence. Here's the hard sentence. That is a bad idea. That is very strong. I want you to use the word might to soften it. You can say, that might not be the best idea. Do you hear how gentle that is? It means the same thing, essentially, but it saves face. Let us try another one. Here's the hard sentence. It will rain tomorrow. Maybe you are not a weather expert, so soften it. Use it looks like. It looks like it will rain tomorrow. Now you try one. The sentence is, she does not like the food. Soften it, using it seems. It seems she does not like the food. You say it. Very good. This nuance is what takes you from an intermediate level to an advanced level. It shows social intelligence. Now I want to address a very common problem when explaining thoughts. Sometimes we explain, and we are not sure if the other person understands us. We need to check in, but we must be careful. If you say, do you understand me? It can sound a little bit aggressive. It can sound like you are asking, are you smart enough to understand? We want to avoid that. Instead of asking, do you understand? We should ask, does that make sense? This is a beautiful shift. When you ask, does that make sense? You are asking about your explanation, not their intelligence. You are asking, did I explain that well? It puts the responsibility on you. Another great phrase is, do you see what I mean? This is collaborative. It invites them to look at the picture with you. So imagine you have just explained a very complicated feeling or a complex plan at work. You finish speaking and you want to check the connection. Just add a little tag at the end. Does that make sense? If they say no, then you can use the rephrasing tools we learned earlier. You can say, let me put it another way. This cycle of explaining, checking, and rephrasing is the heartbeat of clear communication. Now we are going to take all of those individual tools and we are going to build a house. We are going to apply everything we have learned to the most important areas of your life. We are going to talk about professional clarity, like how to speak in interviews and meetings. We are going to talk about social fluency, like how to make friends and connect deeply. Let us start with the professional world. Many of you are learning English because you want a better job or you want to work internationally. In the business world, clarity is money. If you are unclear, people lose patience. If you are clear, people trust you. One of the most common and terrifying situations is the job interview. And the most common question in a job interview is, tell me about yourself. This question seems simple, but it is actually a trap. Many people start rambling. They say, well, I was born in a small town and I have 2 brothers and I like cats. This is not what the interviewer wants to know. To answer this clearly, you need a structure. The structure is past, present, future. This is your professional timeline. The past is your background and experience. The present is what you are doing now and why you are qualified. The future is why you want this job. When you use this structure, you explain your professional identity clearly in less than 2 minutes. Let us look at an example. Imagine you are applying for a job as a marketing manager. A messy answer would jump around, but a clear answer uses the timeline. Past. I have worked in marketing for 5 years, specializing in social media. Present. Currently, I am leading a team at a tech company where we increase sales by 20%. Future. Now I am looking to bring my skills to a larger international organization like yours. Do you hear how clean that is? It tells a story of growth. I want you to practice the past, present, future structure right now. I want you to imagine you are in an interview. I am the manager. I am looking at your resume. I look up at you and I ask, so tell me about yourself. I want you to give me 3 sentences. 1 about your past experience, 1 about your current situation, and 1 about what you want for your future. Do not worry about the grammar, just focus on the timeline. Take a breath. Go ahead. Tell me about yourself. That was very professional. By using that timeline, you show that you are organized. Organization suggests intelligence. Now let us look at another professional situation, the meeting. We spend so much time in meetings. Often in a meeting, you have to give an update on a project. The mistake people make is giving too much detail too soon. They start explaining every small email they sent. The clear way to do this is to use a technique called the headline. In journalism, the most important news is at the top. In speaking, it should be the same. Start with the result, then give the details. We call this BLUF, bottom line, up front. Imagine your boss asks, "How is the project going?" An unclear answer is, "Well, we had some issues with the supplier and then the software crashed, but we fixed it." The boss is panicked because they do not know if it is finished. A clear answer puts the headline first. The project is on track and will be finished by Friday. That is the headline. Then you add the details. We had some software issues, but we resolved them. When you speak this way, you sound like a leader. Leaders give the headline first. Let us practice the headline technique. Imagine you are planning a party. I ask you, is everything ready for the party? I want you to give me the headline first. Yes, everything is ready. Then give me a detail. We just bought the food. Try it. Give the headline, then the detail. Start with, the party is ready. Go ahead. Excellent, you are learning to respect the listener's time. Now let us move to a slightly more advanced professional skill, the summary. Sometimes a meeting is long and confusing. Everyone is talking at once. If you want to be the clearest person in the room, you can be the one who summarizes. You can use phrases like, "So the main takeaway is," or, "In summary, we decided to." These phrases are like gathering all the messy papers on a desk and stacking them neatly. It helps everyone remember what happened. If you are in a meeting and it is ending, try to be the one who says, "So to sum up, we are going to meet again next Tuesday." It is a power move. It shows you are listening and you are in control. Let us practice the phrase, "The main takeaway is." I want you to imagine you just read a long book or watched a long movie. I ask you, what was it about? I want you to tell me the main lesson. Use the phrase the main takeaway is that love conquers all. Or whatever the lesson is. Try it. Say the main takeaway is, very good. Now let us leave the office and go to a party. Let us talk about social fluency. Explaining your thoughts in a social setting is different. It is less about efficiency and more about connection. But clarity is still key. The biggest problem in small talk is the dead end. This is when you answer a question with one word and the conversation dies. For example, do you like music? Yes. The conversation is dead. To explain your thoughts clearly and socially, you need to use the bridge. You answer the question and then you build a bridge to more information or a question for them. A great way to do this is the answer plus why structure. Do you like music? Yes, I love jazz because it relaxes me after work. The because part gives the other person something to hold on to. Now they can ask you about work or about jazz or about relaxing. You gave them hooks. Another way is answer plus question. Do you like music? Yes, I do, especially rock music. How about you? This passes the ball back to them. Conversation is like a game of tennis. You must hit the ball back. Let us practice the answer plus why. I am going to ask you a question about your preferences. I want you to answer yes or no, and then explain why in one simple sentence. Here is the question. Do you like cooking? Do not just say yes or no. Tell me why. Maybe because it is creative, or because it is stressful. Go ahead. Do you like cooking? That was a perfect answer. You invited me into your world. Now let us talk about explaining your hobbies. We all have things we love. Maybe you love football or knitting or video games. Sometimes when we try to explain these things to people who do not know them, we get too technical. We use words they do not understand. The secret to explaining a passion clearly is to focus on the feeling, not the mechanics. Do not tell me the rules of the offside trap in football. Tell me how it feels to watch your team win. Tell me about the atmosphere in the stadium. If you like knitting, do not talk about the types of wool immediately. Say, I love knitting because it is like meditation for my hands. That is a clear explanation of a feeling. It connects a physical activity to an emotion. Everyone understands meditation, even if they do not understand knitting. This is called creating an analogy. An analogy is when you say one thing is like another thing. It is the most powerful tool for explanation. Let us try to create a simple analogy. Think of something you do well. Maybe you are good at driving. Driving is like... What? Maybe driving is like dancing with a car. That is a beautiful image. Maybe learning English is like... What? Learning English is like going to the gym. You have to do it every day to see muscles. Analogies make you sound like a poet and a philosopher. They make your thoughts visible. I want you to try to complete this analogy. Learning to speak clearly is like... Think of something. Is it like learning to ride a bike? Is it like cleaning a window? Choose one and say it. Learning to speak clearly is like... That is a wonderful comparison. When you use language like that, people remember you. They remember your thought because you gave them a picture. Now let us address a very common fear. The fear of being misunderstood due to pronunciation. Sometimes you explain your thought perfectly. The grammar is right. The vocabulary is right. But the person still says what? This can be heartbreaking. It destroys your confidence. Usually the problem is not your accent. Your accent is a beautiful part of your identity. The problem is usually enunciation. Enunciation is different from accent. Enunciation means finishing your words. Many learners swallow the ends of their words. They say, I want to go to the par instead of I want to go to the park. When you eat the ends of the words, the listener's brain has to work very hard to guess. To explain your thoughts clearly, you must finish every sound. Think of it like typing. You must hit the final key before you move to the next word. Let us practice this with a tongue twister. Not for speed, but for clarity. The phrase is, put the cat on the mat. I want you to hear the T at the end of put, cat, and mat. It should sound crisp. Put, cat, mat. Now say the whole sentence, slowly ensuring every T is sharp. Put the cat on the mat. Go ahead. Do you feel the muscle working in your mouth? That is the muscle of clarity. If you focus on the final sounds of your words, your clarity will improve 50% immediately. You do not need to sound American or British. You just need to sound complete. Now I want to talk about a concept called the check-in. In social situations, we often talk for a long time. To make sure you are not boring the other person, you need to check the temperature. You can use body language for this, but you can also use phrases. Phrases like, you know what I mean, or have you ever felt that way? These little questions pull the other person back into the story. It makes them feel included. If you are telling a story about a bad holiday, you can pause and ask, have you ever had a bad holiday? Now it is a shared conversation, not a speech. Let us practice asking, have you ever felt that way? I am going to tell you a short feeling. I get really nervous before I have to make a phone call in English. Now you ask me the check-in question. Ask me, have you ever felt that way? Yes, I have. We all have. See how that creates a connection. It makes us feel like we are on the same team. That is the ultimate goal of clear explanation. Connection. We are coming to the final section of our series. We need to talk about the future. You have listened to 4 parts of this podcast. You have practiced with me. But I cannot be with you every second of every day. You need a plan to keep improving your clarity on your own. I want to give you 3 specific habits you can start today. The first habit is shadowing. We mentioned this briefly, but I want to explain it fully. Shadowing is when you listen to a native speaker and you repeat exactly what they say. At the same time, they say it. You do not wait for them to finish. You speak over them like a shadow. This trains your mouth to move at the native speed and rhythm. You can do this with my voice right now. Try to say these words exactly when I say them. Clarity is power. Did you try it? It is hard, but it is effective. Do this for 2 minutes a day with a podcast or a YouTube video. The second habit is the daily record. We talked about this in part 1. Use your phone. Record yourself answering one question every day. It could be, what did I eat for lunch? What is my plan for tomorrow? Listen to it. If you hear a mistake, record it again. This loop of speak, listen, correct is the fastest way to fix bad habits. It is like looking in a mirror. You cannot fix your hair if you do not look in the mirror. You cannot fix your speaking if you do not hear your voice. The third habit is the thinking routine. This is the silent practice. When you are walking down the street or washing the dishes, narrate your life in English in your head. Say, I am picking up the plate. I am washing it with the sponge. The water is warm. This keeps your English brain active. If you do not know a word like sponge, look it up later. This fills the gaps in your vocabulary naturally. My dear friends, learning to explain your thoughts clearly is a journey that never truly ends. Even native speakers are still learning how to be clearer, how to be kinder, how to be more persuasive. You are not behind, you are just on the path. There will be days when you feel stuck. There will be days when you forget the word. That is okay. Do not let the fear of making a mistake silence you. A broken sentence is better than silence. An imperfect explanation is better than no explanation. I want you to remember the toolkit you have built over these 4 episodes. We learned to keep it simple and use the what and why. We learned to tell stories with first, next, finally, and use the anchor of time, place, and people. We learned to give opinions with, from my perspective, and to disagree politely with, I see your point, but. And today we learned the past, present, future for interviews, the headline for meetings, and the power of analogies for social connection. This is a heavy toolkit. It is full of gold. It is yours now. You have earned it. I want you to carry it with you everywhere you go. When you walk into a meeting, bring your toolkit. When you meet a new friend, bring your toolkit. When you travel to a new country, bring your toolkit. I have one final request for you. I want you to make a promise to yourself, not to me, but to yourself. Promise that you will speak up. When you have a thought, do not swallow it. Do not hide it. Explain it. Even if it takes time, even if you have to use your hands, your thoughts are unique. Your perspective is valuable. The world needs to hear what you have to say. I want to do one final visualization with you before we say goodbye. Close your eyes for a moment if you are safe to do so. Picture yourself in the future, maybe 6 months from now. Picture yourself sitting at a table with friends or colleagues who speak English. You are laughing. You are leaning forward. You are telling a story. You are using the signposts. You are pausing. You are confident. Everyone is listening to you. They are nodding. They understand you perfectly. Feel that feeling of connection. Feel that pride. That version of you is real. That version of you is waiting for you. Keep walking towards him or her. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to be your guide on this series. Creating English in advance is my passion, and having listeners like you makes it all worth it. If you found this series helpful, please share it with a friend who is also learning. Practice together, challenge each other. I am Jessica. This has been How to Explain Your Thoughts Clearly in English. You are ready, you are capable, and you are clear. Go out there and share your voice with the world. Until we meet again, take care, stay strong, and keep speaking. Goodbye for now.